Hello and welcome to grammar class. Today's lesson is transitive verbs, intransitive verbs and verbs of incomplete predication. But first, what is a verb? A verb is a word that denotes an action or a state of being, like seem, be, play, run, eat, etc. While seem and be indicate a state of being, play, run, eat, etc. show an action. And the person or thing that does the action denoted by the verb is called its doer. And the person or thing that receives the impact or effect of the action is called the receiver of the action. Now, what is a transitive verb? A verb is called transitive if the action of the verb does not stop with the doer and passes on to the object or the receiver. An object is generally a noun or a pronoun. Now let me explain some more. A verb denotes an action and a doer does the action. Now if the doer does the action to some other noun or pronoun, or if the action falls on some other noun or pronoun, then the verb is called transitive. In other words, a transitive verb has an object, which is usually a noun or a pronoun, that receives the effect of the action denoted by the verb. In short, a transitive verb has one or more objects. For example, John plays football. Here, plays is the verb and football is the noun. The effect of the verb plays falls on the noun football, so football is the object of the verb plays, and hence plays is a transitive verb here. Now take another example. He gave me a gold ring. Here, gave is a verb and there are two objects here, me and a gold ring. Me is the indirect object, whereas a gold ring is the direct object. An indirect object is a human being that is affected by the action of the verb, that receives the action of the verb, whereas a direct object is a thing, a non-living thing to which the action of the verb is done. So we understand that here the verb gave has two objects, so it is a transitive verb. Now we can identify the object of a verb with the help of what or whom test. If there is an object, then the verb will be transitive. Now how to do this what or whom test? If we ask a question by putting what or whom after the verb, we can identify the object from the answer that we get in the sentence. For example, John plays football. Here we are going to ask a question by putting what after the verb plays. John plays what? And the answer is football. So that is the object. And since the verb plays has an object here, so it is a transitive verb. Now take another example. He gave me a gold ring. He gave whom? Answer, me. And me is the indirect object here. He gave me what? Answer, a gold ring. Now a gold ring is the direct object here. So gave is a transitive verb. So we can use what or whom test to identify the object in the sentence, and if there is an object, then the verb will be transitive. So now we have understood the concept of the transitive verb. But sometimes the subject and the object of the transitive verb refer to the same person or thing. In such a case, the verb is called a reflexive verb. For example, the girl hurt herself. Here the subject, the girl, and the object herself refer to the same person. So the verb hurt is a reflexive verb. In the same way, he killed himself. Here too, the subject he and the object himself refer to the same person. So the verb killed is called a reflexive verb. Let's now talk about the intransitive verb. A verb is intransitive if the action of the verb falls on the doer or the subject and it has no object. So it is clear that a verb is intransitive if the action denoted by it stops with the doer and does not pass on to any other noun or pronoun. In other words, an intransitive verb has no object to it. To put it simply, an intransitive verb has no object to receive its action, or the doer does not do the action to any other noun or pronoun. In other words, an intransitive verb shows that the action of the verb falls on the doer or the subject of the sentence rather than passing on to any other noun or pronoun. So in a nutshell, a transitive verb has one or more objects, while an intransitive verb has none. Now see some examples of intransitive verbs on your screen. The baby is crying. Here the baby is the doer and the action of crying does not pass on to any other thing or person. Here the doer, the baby, is affected by the action of crying. Hence, crying is an intransitive verb. In the other three sentences also, the verbs barking, coming and feel have no object. These actions of barking, coming or feeling do not pass on to any other person or thing. These actions are not done to any other person or thing. So, barking, coming and feel are intransitive verbs here. Now on your screen are some verbs which are used intransitively. Come, go, fall, die, happen, occur, sleep, seem, appear, become, agree, take place, belong, etc. These are some examples of intransitive verbs. There are also some intransitive verbs which combine with prepositions to become transitive verbs. For example, I ask for your kind blessings. We chatted away the whole night. They laughed at me. Please look into the case. Here, look, laugh, chat, and ask are intransitive verbs, but ask for means to want, chat away means to spend, laugh at means to mock, and look into means to investigate. In this way, intransitive verbs combine with prepositions to be used as transitive verbs. But please remember that since intransitive verbs do not have any object, they cannot be used in the passive voice. Only transitive verbs can be used in the passive voice. However, in English grammar, most verbs can be used both transitively and intransitively. Sometimes a verb may be transitive, at some other times it may be intransitive depending on its use and meaning in the sentence. Now see some examples on your screen. People grow plants. Here the verb grow has an object, plants, so it is transitive. The same verb grow is used in a different way in the second sentence. Plants grow gradually. Here the verb grow has no object, so it is intransitive. In the same way, he runs a company. Here runs is a transitive verb because the action is done to a noun, a company. A company is the object of the verb runs. So runs is transitive in the first sentence. But in the second sentence, he runs fast. Here runs is an intransitive verb because it has no object here. In the third pair, he tasted the grapes. Tasted is a transitive verb because it has an object, grapes. But in the second sentence, the grapes tasted sour. Sour is not the object of the verb tasted in the second sentence. It is just an adjective. So in the second sentence, tasted is intransitive, while in the first sentence, he tasted the grapes. Tasted is a transitive verb. So we can understand how the same verb is used both transitively and intransitively, giving out different meanings. Well, up next is verbs of incomplete predication. There are some intransitive and transitive verbs which do not give out a complete sense. In other words, with these intransitive or transitive verbs, the sentence or the predicate of the sentence does not make a complete sense. These intransitive or transitive verbs need more words, particularly nouns or adjectives, to make a complete sense. And such verbs are called verbs of incomplete predication, because with these verbs the predicate does not make a complete sense. And the word or words required to make the sense of the predicate complete are called complements. And these complements are either nouns or adjectives. The complements of intransitive verbs are called subjective complement, because intransitive verbs have no object, while the complements of transitive verbs are called objective complements, because they complete the sense of their objects. In English grammar, some verbs of incomplete predication are verb be or am, is, are, was, were. Verb have, has, had. Seem, become, remain, appear, grow, elect, name, find, feel, and so on. These verbs need their complements to make a complete sense. They are also called link verbs or incomplete verbs. Now let's see the use of verbs of incomplete predication in sentences. He seems suspicious. Here, seems is a verb of incomplete predication, but suspicious is the complement, the subjective complement that completes the sense of seems. We became tired. Here, tired is the complement of the verb became. The wind grew stronger. Here the adjective stronger is the complement of the intransitive verb grew. I am thirsty. Here thirsty is the complement of verb be am. They elected him president. Here president is the complement of the transitive verb elected. So it's clear that without their complements, these verbs seems, became, grew, am, and elected do not make a complete sense. So they are called verbs of incomplete predication. So that's the end of today's video. I hope you liked it. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and press the notification bell for more grammar videos. Thank you very much.